On your mark. Set.
Welcome to the Home Straight Podcast, the podcast for Paralympians by Paralympians. I'm Chad Paris.
I'm Scott Reardon.
And I'm Evan O'Hanlon. You're listening to Episode 1.
Today is 100 days to go to the Paralympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. It's time to get excited. It's the business end of what we do. So welcome to the boys, Evan and Chad. It's going to be an exciting few weeks.
Yeah, Scotty, we've decided to make this podcast straight off our own back. I think every week leading into the Paralympics from now on, we're going to be releasing a new podcast. So it's an exciting time for all of us. 100 days to go. I couldn't be more excited, really.
I think first and foremost, we need to just get right up there and say we are not professionals. And you can probably already tell that from the sound quality. But there'll be a couple of bloopers and a couple of interesting noises, I reckon, in the background. You're just going to have to look over them.
So I think before we proceed, boys, I think we need to formally introduce ourselves. So I think we might throw it over to Chatty Paris for the first introduction, a little bit about him and what he's been doing as a first-time Paralympian. I think he gets the right to go first.
Yeah, thanks, Scotty. For those of you who don't know me, I am known as the White Tiger, Chad Paris. I competed in the T13 100 metres. So I have run 100 metres in 10.97 seconds, my best. I ran that in early 2014. This game's hoping to go faster than that, and at the moment, just in the real meat of our preparation. So got a race coming up this weekend in Northern Townsville. That's Northern Queensland. For those of you who don't know, that's pretty much the northern eastern end, most tip of Australia. So it's going to be an exciting meet, and it'd be good to rock a time on the board and see how it go.
Thanks for the geography lesson there, Chatty.
Yeah, well, a few of the people might not be listening from inside Australia, and look, those who don't know Australia will not know where Townsville is.
I think our one viewer, Nick Brigel, who promised to listen to the podcast, I think he's in Australia.
Yeah, look, I reckon he would, but we'll have to wait and see.
So, Chad, it's a bit of history about where you've been, what you've been doing. World Championships representative in Doha last year in 2015. How did that championships go for you?
Yeah, I took home a bronze in the 100 metres and a silver in the 200 metres. Unfortunately, not able to compete in the 200 because we simply don't have an event in Rio. But the 100 metres is all I'll be doing there, and to back up my performance from World Champs would be awesome. I'm looking to go and take home a medal, and we'll see how it goes.
And I heard your 100 metres is early on in the program. What are you looking to do afterwards?
We'll have to wait and see. I'll have to wait till that comes. But day one evening is my heats, and day two morning is the final, and then after that I'm just going to be just kicking it in the village and see what happens.
I've actually heard a rumour in the last few days that Irena's actually going to put you to work for the remainder of the competition. I'm competing quite late in the competition, and because you run faster than me, you're able to slow down. So she's going to get you to do some starts beside me, so you're going to have to behave yourself for the second half of the competition.
Official team Waterboy.
Official team Waterboy. I'll be Scotty's bag carrier. I'll carry his leg over my shoulder into the warm-up track and make myself useful that way.
Sounds good.
Now, you're going to have to introduce yourself, Scott Reardon.
Yeah, so I'm a T42 athlete, so meaning that I've got one leg. So I'm amputated through the knee. This will be my second Paralympic Games after representing Australia at the London Paralympic Games, where I walked away with the silver medal in the 100 metres. Quite an amazing experience being a part of my first Paralympic Games and running in front of 80,000 people. It was an experience I'll never forget, and it definitely it's fueled the fire as we move forward into Rio, and it's definitely made it a very exciting experience. Hoping to go one better in the next few weeks and prepare well, and hopefully be able to walk away with that gold medal when Rio comes around.
You did a pretty good job there of explaining yourself. I don't think me and Chad need to ask any questions.
that awkward silence, I think that might be the first of many, I think. Just get used to that, I would suggest.
Evan and I are sitting there looking through each other, just thinking whether we should ask something or not. Now, Scotty, in World Champs in Doha as well, you were there. You were my roommate. How was that experience for you? You did come home with a dangly thing around your neck. What colour was it?
I was able to pick up a gold in the 100 metres, ran a personal best or equal personal best in the 100 metre final, and was able to win that gold medal. It was a good experience. The last World Championship I won in 2013 was an interesting one where it was a joint gold medalist, and I won, then I didn't win, then I was an equal gold medalist. So to actually do that by myself for the first time was a pretty awesome experience. But Doha was a little bit interesting for me anyway as well, because I had I was able to experience the other side of and being a spectator and actually watching somebody who's a very close person in my life win a gold medal as well. So that was a pretty awesome experience as well.
A close person in your life, who would that be?
Vanessa Lowe, my girlfriend, was able to win the T42 long jump and finish with a silver medal in the 100 metres as well.
Yeah, awesome performance from Vanessa. That performance, Vanessa, very, very tough words to put out next to each other there. But
what I think you're looking for there is the words power couple.
I think so, yes. Taking the power couple, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing most in Rio. I finished day 2 and look, I'll be out there watching them for sure.
So that's all you're looking forward to in Rio, watching the power couple compete?
Why not? It's going to be the highlight, isn't it?
Look, I hope to have my own
I thought you'd be out there trying to find your own girlfriend to form your own power couple and rival the Lowe Reardon a combination.
Yeah, look, we'll wait. Like I said before, wait and see what happens.
All right, I think it's about time to move on from me and what I've been doing over the last few years and on to Evan O'Hanlon. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. So as you've already said, my name's Evan O'Hanlon and I'm a T38 athlete, which means I have cerebral palsy and I'm in the most mild class for cerebral palsy. So walking along the street, I'm pretty much the odd one out in this group. You can tell both the other boys' disabilities straight up pretty quick. Chad's an albino, so he sticks out like a sore thumb. And and Scotty is missing his leg, so all the kids stare and walk into poles as they walk past. Me, on the other hand, my disability is a little bit more hidden. I had a stroke before birth, which means I have brain damage, and that affects the left side of my body. Makes me weaker and not as coordinated on my whole left side, but it's most visible in my left hand. So if you see me on the street, you can look at my left hand and maybe I'll be doing something silly, but chances are, well, hopefully for my sake, I'm not doing anything too silly.
All you have to do is ask them to open a doorknob and with the left hand, and that's all the fun in your life you'll need.
It is pretty entertaining.
This is going to be my 3rd Paralympic Games. So Chaddy's, this is going to his 1st, Scotty is going to his 2nd, and I'm the old dog going to my 3rd. And they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but hopefully our coach, who coaches all of us, Irina Divoskina, will be able to pull a couple of rabbits out of the hat and teach me something new.
Yeah, so Chad, it's been an interesting experience for you the last probably 7 to 8 months. Preparation for World Championships last year was going really well for you, and you were able to pull out a couple of good times as you went overseas as preparation was starting to increase and struck down with injury. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as the boys mentioned, both of them went quite well at World Championships, and I didn't mention my progress at World Championships because I didn't have any. 4 weeks out from World Champs, I was told by the doctors that I had to stop running because I had a stress fracture in my back. Just previous to that, I'd been over to Brazil to compete in the world's fastest Paralympian race where I finished 4th, so I'm pretty happy with that. My times were pretty decent leading into World Champs, but yeah, sadly I couldn't compete, so didn't come home with any silverware this time. But I'm looking forward to Rio. I've had 7 months of rehab now and just hitting my straps in full training with Chaddy and doing some really hard work on the track, so I'm really looking forward to Rio now.
Yeah, awesome. It's going to be one of my highlights, definitely from London. We're sitting on the sideline watching you run the 200 metres and come burning down the home straight. Actually, the heat was probably the race that was even better. My mum and dad were actually in the stadium sitting on the 100-metre line, and as Evan came to exit from the bend, he'd run probably about 10.9 for the first 100 metres. Took a big look across the rest of the field and cruised home to make sure he qualified for the final, at which he was able to come home and convert, and was his 5th straight gold medal in world record time at a Paralympic Games. And I don't think too many people around the world have ever been able to do that and achieve what Evan has. So it's definitely an honour to be a part of his squad, and obviously I've learned a lot over the years, and will continue to learn for the rest of his career. So yeah, I think that's pretty much a formal introduction of us, and we should proceed into the formal part of the show, which is not very formal, to be totally honest with you, where we start running down a little bit about what we're going to be doing and the things that are going on in Paralympic sport.
Well, thanks for that, Scotty. Now that they know who we are, they know who we are. They want to know what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks as we lead up to Rio Paralympic Games. And we'll look at news from around the world, including other sports, athletics obviously being the main sport because we do athletics, but we'll try our best to understand, explain, and look at all the news from around the Paralympic world. over the next couple of weeks. We've already got planned to look at some of the hot topics like the results of the IAAF's investigation into Marcus Rehm and his leg. He's the long jumper from Germany who is trying to compete at the Olympic Games. He's a Paralympic long jumper. He holds the world record in the long jump for his class, and he's actually now at a level where he can compete with able-bodied athletes. Those results will come out today, and hopefully we'll be able to speak about them on the coming podcasts.
Big controversy.
Oh, big controversy.
It'll be interesting to see which way that goes, boys. It could go either way, and it's something that we'll have to discuss once the results are out. And once the results are out, that's how it is.
Absolutely. I've spoken to a lot of able-bodied and Paralympic athletes about this topic, and it's a hotly debated one, that's for sure.
Another controversy, Chad, you used that word, another controversy in Paralympic sports of late is the Olympic rings and the tattoo that people are getting put on their body. And turns out some people, including the swimmer by the name of Joseph Craig, who was disqualified at the IPC European Champs the other week. He's already crazy, we know that, because he looks at a pool or looks at the black line on the bottom of the pool all day. But he was disqualified, and we'll discuss that in coming weeks as well.
Yes, Ev. They're going to be doing a bit of a discussion about classification as well across every podcast, picking out different sports and picking their classification apart as well. So that'll be good to give everybody an idea of which classifications in each sport and how they go, because of obviously in every sport there's a different classification system. So that'll be interesting, and team uniforms as well is what we're going to be discussing over the next few weeks. Right now in the lead up, 100 days to go, there's going to be a lot of teams in the next few weeks to months putting in their team uniforms and releasing them. So Austria and the Netherlands have both released their uniforms over the last couple of days. So that's they look good, and we'll be letting you know over the next few weeks which ones are the ones to be looking out for, so we can know what everyone's going to be wearing in competition and around the village as well. So I don't think my eyes are going to be the best ones to judge the uniforms, obviously being vision impaired, but I'll let you guys stick to that.
I'll let you borrow my eyeballs for a couple of looks over those uniforms, Chatty. But I will tell you, I don't think you'll need my eyeballs for the Netherlands one. They've gone for the classic orange of the Netherlands.
Yeah, extremely bright. That's what I like to see.
No controversy there.
No, none whatsoever. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing what the Australian uniform looks like. That comes out soon, and it's an exciting time because you know that it's real when that sort of starts to happen. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I remember when I look back to London. It was that moment where you got your uniform was when things started to feel real, and as we start to see what the uniform is going to look like for Australia and obviously the rest of the world as they get their uniforms, it starts to feel a little bit more real, and it gets very exciting. One thing I am looking forward to, boys, is the medals. They haven't released the medals yet. No one knows.
Have they not released the medals?
No, both Olympic and Paralympics haven't released what the medals are going to be looking like. I've had a look in the last few days, and then there's nothing coming up, and that's always something that's exciting as well. Then you kind of have something that you know what you're going to be aiming for, and that you have a bit of a visual representation of that end goal, which is again makes it exciting.
They're probably just holding off on the medal release until they've actually finished all the stadiums.
Yeah, all the resources going into building the stadiums, not digging the gold up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I've seen a few of the stadiums that have been completed, and they look awesome. The swimming arena looks insane, and the athletics has come up really well. Scotty and I were there in Brazil, in Rio, in early 2014, and being in that stadium was awesome. Being able to just walk around, but having seats added to it and actually having bums in the seats as well is going to be an awesome experience.
Now, Chatty, we also have to let them know how to get in contact with us, because we're going to have a lot of things that we want to talk about, but it's no use us just standing around talking. We want to be able to get you guys involved in the conversation, and we want to make sure that we're answering your questions, because we can just we can sit around and talk all day, but we're not going to inform anyone of anything. So get involved, ask your questions. We'll try and answer them to the best of our knowledge, and if we don't know, we'll just make it up, and you'll have to believe us.
Yes, everyone will only everyone will only have knowledge of what information they're being told, so we can do our best. But hashtag the home straight is what we're going for. So hashtag the home straight. You can contact us directly as well at Evan O'Hanlon on Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. At Scott Riodo and at Chad Paris. So all pretty streamlined. We're all the same handles across the board with those. So make sure that you get in contact. Hashtag the home straight. any questions, we're more than happy to go over any topics that you want us to have a chat about as well.
And it probably makes our job a little bit easier too. The more people that actually get involved and get around this, it kind of leads it away from the direction that we want to take it and back to the people who actually want to know a bit more about Paralympic sport. And I think that'll only be a good thing. The more people that get involved in this and make this a little bit more interactive, I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely. I think as long as we get people asking us questions, and if you want to know anything more about us, feel free to ask. We're going to answer any questions that you might have.
Meanwhile, Evan will just be sitting back making 100 Twitter accounts so that he can ask stupid questions of Scotty and Chad all week.
Yeah, you've got to be careful about that because we can give stupid answers about you too. I'd much rather be given the answers than asking the questions.
Too many knowledge bombs to be dropped in this show.
Yes, so boys, a lot of stuff's been happening in Paralympic sport over the last 12 months. We'll try and have a bit of a weekly wrap-up, but obviously there's been a few things happen in the last month and obviously a lot of stuff happening as we move forward. So just a bit of a wrap-up of what's been happening in Paralympic world.
I think I'll just stop you there, actually, and just let everyone know that you're our local statistician, pretty much. I have to actually ask Scotty what times I've run recently, and I definitely have to ask him when it's more than a year ago. And he will know, so that's why I do ask him. I had to check with him when Chad Paris, on my right here in the studio, equalled my PB at World Champs. I had to check. I gave Scotty a quick message to check that that was my time, and it turned out that he did equal my PB, which I was a little bit disappointed about, but also pretty excited because my training partner had the same PB, so he's going to be pushing me.
Absolutely. I was just disappointed I couldn't go 0.01 faster, to be honest. But
yeah, there's still a bit of debate about that race too, because Evan claims he had a headwind and Chad had a tailwind, so there's a bit of conjecture there with who's actually the faster time. But end of the day, numbers all that matters. How you got there makes no difference.
Track was probably really fast. I didn't get an opportunity to run on it, did I?
Well, anyway, back to what's been happening. A few different sports that are coming out of the woodwork a little bit at the moment and that are kind of interesting me a little bit is paratriathlon and also canoe, as they're new sports into the Paralympic Games, and they've got a bit of a circuit happening at the moment. So paratriathlon have been in Japan earlier in the month. Some decent results coming out of there. To be honest, I've only seen the Australian results out of that event, and there was a few really good events for us Australians. And they're actually off to European champs on the weekend that's just gone, so yet to see the results come through for that. But as that sport progresses, there's going to be a lot of new athletes come out onto the board, and there's probably going to be a few athletes that have made the transition across from the sports of obviously cycling, track and field, and also swimming. So that's going to be interesting to see where that progresses over the next little period of time. Paracycling, they've been around the world, and the road events have been ticking along. They've been in South Africa earlier in the month, and they were in Belgium on the weekend just gone. So again, as Rio gets closer and closer, these events will start to kick up, and these international tours will continue to progress the classifications and the performances. Moving to athletics, obviously.
Not just gone.
Yeah, but there's also been a lot of stuff happening in the last few weeks. Within the last 2.5 weeks, they're in Arizona for the Desert Challenge as a part of the IPC Grand Prix circuit. They had the Rio Test event, and into Notwil, there've been some really good results coming out of those events. Obviously, being across the board in track and field, there've been a few world records at the Notwil event on the weekend, and also at the Rio Test event. So it's also encouraging for us as track and field athletes to see world records being broke on that track. So it's definitely exciting times.
It's always nice to watch the Olympic Games, what I like to think is our warm-up games, and see the fast times coming out of those. You get to watch it on TV, see everyone racing, get to see what the stadium looks like. But we've already seen this now because we've had the Paralympic Test event over in Rio, and we've seen that the track is pretty good. They had some not so nice weather to deal with, but the track has been good, and there was some really decent results coming out then, so it's exciting me.
It's a nice looking blue track as well, so that's it's a bit different for Paralympics. I can't.
It's the first one in history, boys. Blue track. I think it's probably one of the
Olympic
first
Paralympic Games, probably.
Yeah, which is a little bit different for us, but Australia have gone ahead and been laying blue tracks in the last few years, so we've got a bit of practice running on those.
You know what they say, the best research is no research, and we're just claiming it's the first one in history. There you go.
Exactly.
That's an educated guess. So for all the news that's happening in the Paralympic world, jump across to Paralympic.org. Obviously, everything that the IPC publishes will be on that website, and they'll probably be a little bit more up to date than what we are, considering that we might be a week behind at things. And obviously, we'll branch into some different sports, and as a week by week show, we'll be able to stay up to date with the current results and not dip so far back, and we'll have a bit more of a comprehensive report as we move forward. So as a part of our weekly wrap-up, we're going to have a weekly athlete, the best performance of the week. This week, coming out of South Africa, Charles du Toit actually broke the world record for the 100 metres for the T37 classification. Actually, a bit of an interesting story, boys. He had to actually step down events in that classification as they withdrew the 800 metres after the London Paralympic Games. So he's actually been forced to play a card that I think he probably actually was rightfully a sprinter, looking at the performances he's done over the 100, 200 and the 400 metres. So now the 100-metre world record holder for the T37 classification, and that gets my athlete of the week.
That performance came at Notwil,
yes,
just over the last couple of days, where they were racing over there in Switzerland.
Fast track.
We've all trained there, leading into the World Championships in 2013. Thanks to Scotty there for nodding, the statistician on my left, just nodding away to tell me I've done my research.
Yes, Scotty, and that's bringing us towards the end of our first podcast. Everyone else can look to all of the above and what we've spoken about today in the next coming weeks. It's going to be a great, exciting time, and I can't wait for these next podcasts. We'll be back next Monday, hopefully. We're going to be having a lot of racing on the weekends. Scotty, Evan, and I are all competing. So I'm rocking out a 100. Evan's rocking out a 100. Scotty's rocking a 1 and a 2. So it's going to be interesting to see what times we can have. We'll discuss that next Monday, along with everything else that we've discussed on the program today.
And the showdown. Chad versus Evan, we'll find out who takes out the victory next Monday.
We will be taking it on. Make sure you send through your tips to us on Twitter. #TheHomeStraight, at Chad Paris, at Scott Rideau, at Evan O'Hanlon are our handles to look for.
That's it from us all here in the studio, which is really just a bedroom. We hope you enjoyed everything that we've spoken about today, and look forward to seeing you guys all listening, writing back to us on the #TheHomeStraight. Over and out.